The World Cup is a global event which captivates the world. And in this clip, we will learn about the World Cup in 2022 and focus on some advanced vocabulary.
The countdown clock on Doha's corniche marks the final days, hours, minutes and seconds until Qatar 2022 kicks off. Now in the final stretch, organisers say they're ready to deliver.
You realise that there's a huge excitement. It was building up over the last 12 years, but 100 days to go, you can feel it, you can touch it, you can taste it. And I think it's a matter of just, the final countdown now.
For the first time, the competition is being held in the Middle East, and there'll be plenty of other firsts. The first World Cup to be played in November and December, female referees in the men's tournament, and an ambition to make this the most sustainable tournament of all time. Qatar 2022 is also set to be groundbreaking because of this, air conditioning. The majority of stadiums will be artificially ventilated to keep players and crowds cool. Fans here in Doha welcomed FIFA's decision to start the World Cup a day earlier to allow Qatar to feature in the opening match. The hosts will play Ecuador at Al Bayt Stadium on November the 20th.
So let's break down the vocabulary.
The countdown clock on Doha's corniche marks the final days, hours, minutes and seconds until Qatar 2022 kicks off.
A countdown is, like the word suggests, when you count down, so from a higher number to a lower number. When you count from a number in a reversed or descending order to 0. For example, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In this case, the countdown clock is going from 100 days to when the World Cup begins, from when the clip was filmed. Doha's corniche is a word you might not be familiar with. I certainly wasn't. So you may have noticed from the clip that the World Cup is taking place in Qatar for the first time. The capital of Qatar and where the World Cup takes place is Doha. The corniche is one of Doha's most iconic attractions. The Doha corniche is a 7-kilometre stretch of a lovely promenade overlooking the waterfront. It shows the impressive skyline of Doha and it's a great place to eat out.
The countdown clock on Doha's corniche marks the final days, hours, minutes and seconds until Qatar 2022 kicks off.
Our next word is marks. This is, Mark, of course, a popular boy's name, but in this instance, if you do something to mark an event or occasion, you do it to show that you are aware of the importance of the event or occasion. For example, my office had a grand party to mark my big promotion. In this case, the clock shows how long is left until the World Cup. Now our final word in the sentence is kicks off. This is a phrasal verb, which I love. And it means, well, it has two meanings. The first usage is when a football game starts. The player is about to kick the ball for the first time. For example, there are 2 games kicking off at 12 p.m. on Saturday. So putting this sentence together, it means the World Cup is starting in less than 100 days. In British slang, kicks off means a situation becomes aggressive and is likely to result in a fight or argument. For example, oh no, he's about to kick off.
Now in the final stretch, organisers say they're ready to deliver.
Final stretch. So, stretching on its own is typically this. It is to straighten or extend one's body or a part of one's body to its full length. However, in this case, it refers to a journey. If a journey is long enough, we refer to it as a stretch. For example, the last stretch of the race was the hardest. So the final stretch is the last part of a long race or journey. In our case, it's the final push before the World Cup begins.
Now in the final stretch, organisers say they're ready to deliver.
To deliver. This verb has 2 meanings. Firstly, to bring and hand over a letter, parcel or goods to an address. It also means as it does in this context, provide something promised or expected. In this case, to deliver and provide the World Cup to the rest of the world.
You realize that there's a huge excitement. It was building up over the last 12 years, but...
Building up. Building up, yep, you guessed it, is a phrasal verb. If something is building up, it means something develops or increases or strengthens over time. So here, our sentence was, huge excitement was building up 12 years, which refers to the time before an event. In this case, the World Cup. For 12 years, people are talking about it and preparing for it. So there's been 12 years that have passed that they have been preparing for the games.
You realize that there's a huge excitement. It was building up over the last 12 years, but 100 days to go, you can feel it, you can touch it, you can taste it.
Days to go. If you say that there is a certain amount of time to go, you mean that there is that amount of time left before something happens or ends. So in our example, there are only 100 days remaining until the World Cup starts. And an important tip, days to go might be used anytime in the past, the present, or the future. So for example, there were only 5 days to go before his birthday when he broke his leg. That is in the past tense. We must be quick. The deadline is tomorrow. We only have 1 day to go. And that is an example in the present tense. You can feel it, you can touch it, you can taste it. If you can feel, taste, and touch something, it means it enlightens or enriches all of your senses. Often, this expression is used when talking about a big event or situation coming up. So if you have an important event which is taking place soon, you can use this phrase. So let's say you are getting married next month. You may feel excited and nervous. You may say, oh, I can feel my wedding, I can touch it, I can basically taste it, which lets the other person know it is on your mind.
For the first time, the competition is being held in the Middle East.
Held is the past tense of hold, and in this context, it means for something to be carried out at a specific time, date, or place, such as the Middle East. Held also means to carry or grasp many things. A lot of vocabulary has multiple meanings depending on their context. Whilst watching English content is great to incorporate new vocabulary, you do need to have a lot of time to look through definitions and see which one matches the sentence you are watching. Very confusing. Let's face it, who has that amount of time? That is why I advise my students to try FluentU with literally hundreds of video clips to choose from, including television shows, movies, music videos, and more. Because the subtitles are interactive, you can click on them to view video examples in addition to the definition for that specific context. Finally, each video includes a quiz and speaking questions to ensure you practice and retain everything you learn. Why not give it a go for free with the link in the description below?
Female referees in the men's tournament, and an ambition to make this the most sustainable tournament of all time.
Referee. A referee is an official who watches a game or match closely to ensure that the rules are adhered to. They make sure everyone is following the rules carefully. In football, they typically wear something like this, a sort of sports kit. A tournament is a sports competition in which players who win a match continue to play further matches in the competition until there is just one person or team left. And then they are the winner. In the World Cup, each team continues playing as long as they win their match.
Female referees in the men's tournament, and an ambition to make this the most sustainable tournament of all time.
Sustainable is a word which is used a lot now, especially in the media, as we try to fight climate change. But what exactly does it mean? To be sustainable means to be kind to the earth and the planet that we live on. Sustainability consists of fulfilling the needs of current generations without compromising the needs of future generations. So, in our case, Qatar hopes to make the World Cup environmentally friendly and look after the planet as much as they can of all time. Of all time means that has ever lived or in all history. Saying someone or something is the best writer of all time or the most successful movie of all time, for example, means that they are the best or the most successful things that have ever existed. So in our sentence, an ambition to make this the most sustainable tournament of all time. So that means to ensure these games are the best, and yet they are also protecting the world against climate change. If you are enjoying this video so far, then why not give it a like and subscribe to our channel.
Qatar 2022 is also set to be groundbreaking because of this: air conditioning.
Set to be. If something is set to be like something, it means to be ready, to be prepared and to do something. It is going to be done in a certain way. For example, it's set to be a great day means it's likely to be a good day. Groundbreaking. If something is groundbreaking, it is pioneering. It is very new and a big change from all the other things of its type.
Groundbreaking, not just because of the speed of which they were created. Here,
another example would be a cure of cancer would be groundbreaking. So let's take a look at our sentence example together. Qatar 2022 is also set to be groundbreaking. We could paraphrase it to say Qatar 22 is going to be the first of its kind, or new things will happen at Qatar 22.
The majority of stadiums will be artificially ventilated to keep players and crowds cool.
Artificially ventilated. What a mouthful. Let's break this up. If something is artificial, it is fake or by means of human intervention rather than naturally, such as flowers and plants made from plastic rather than from the earth. Ventilation is a circulation of air or an opening that let air in. An example of ventilation is a window being opened in a house. So, artificial ventilation is fake air, like an aircon. Crowd refers to a large number of people gathered together. For example, we want to leave early if we want to avoid the crowds. Meaning, if we want to be in peace, we better go soon. Football games definitely have large crowds. And don't forget, you can revise these words in your own time. You can get FluentU's PDF which accompanies this video. Just click the link in the description.
To start the World Cup a day earlier to allow Qatar to feature in the opening match.
If something features in something else, it is shown, named or played. So here, Qatar will play the first match of the games. We will see them playing against another team. I guess it's a way of saying thank you for hosting the World Cup. Let's check what you have learned and understood and watch the clip again without subtitles.
The countdown clock on Doha's Corniche marks the final days, hours, minutes and seconds until Qatar 2022 kicks off. Now in the final stretch, organisers say they're ready to deliver.
You realise that there's a huge excitement. It was building up over the last 12 years, but 100 days to go, you can feel it, you can touch it, you can taste it. And I think it's a matter of just, the final countdown now.
For the first time, the competition is being held in the Middle East, and there'll be plenty of other firsts. The first World Cup to be played in November and December, female referees in the men's tournament, and an ambition to make this the most sustainable tournament of all time. Qatar 2022 is also set to be groundbreaking because of this: air conditioning. The majority of stadiums will be artificially ventilated to keep players and crowds cool. Fans here in Doha welcomed FIFA's decision to start the World Cup a day earlier to allow Qatar to feature in the opening match. The hosts will play Ecuador at Al Bayt Stadium on November the 20th.
Will you be watching the World Cup and who will you be supporting? I will be cheering on England, of course. If you enjoy learning English with videos, then check out this video and learn real-world English with friends.